Hey everyone, I'm Jay and welcome to a new semester. This is the beginning of a late start class, CIS 1400 Programming Logic and Technique, although you'll probably hear me referring to it as an intro to Python very often because that's pretty much exactly what we'll be doing. Programming Logic and Technique is learning all the fundamental building blocks of programming, and we'll be using the Python language. So, uh, let's talk about some things you can expect to see in this class. It is an online class all semester, and some of the things you're going to see are a lot of videos like this one, kind of like this one anyway. Most of them will be labs that if we were in person, you would be able to work on during class. Since we're online, you'll be just working on them on your own pretty much, unless you know some of one another. Yeah. Uh, Primarily in every module, there are 12 modules. In each one, you'll have 3 labs. Generally, the first one will be I have some code and I'm going to go through every line of the code and tell you what it does. This is the new things for that module, right? We'll be doing some new code each module, and I'll tell you what each one does, why we're using it, blah, 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 right? You'll follow along, copy exactly the same code that I write down, turn that in, right? That's learn by copying. Pretty simple. Next one is I'll make almost the same exact video with a different piece of code. This time, instead of copying the code and following along, you'll build a flowchart of that code. So taking it one more step. And then the third one will generally be I will not show you, well, I'll show you all the code, except that I will show you code that has at least one bug in it, and I'll tell you how many for each assignment. And then I'll run the proper code separately without showing you the fixed bug. I'll run the correct code so you can see what it's supposed to do, and then your job will be to find, identify, fix the bug, put a comment on there so that I know you know what you found and fixed, and you didn't just magically mistakenly fix it. And that's what you'll turn in. So most of the videos will be that. There'll be about 30 of those. Some of the other videos will be on specific topics. I will either make a new one, give you an older one that I've made, or give you one that I found online that someone else has made that probably looks way better than what I can make. Uh, and those will be the main video contents. There'll be a lot of text content. You'll have your textbook, which is this textbook. This is the one we'll be using. I have somehow they gave me the rental edition, whatever. I'll be assigning homework assignments that, in general, if I find a homework assignment I like from the book, I like to use it because I know you'll have all the information needed in there, and it's a little easier for both of us from that point on. I usually will like to add or change something from the homework assignments so they're a little more difficult to just go on one of these online resources and copy and paste. That happens all the time. Uh, if I find a copy and pasted answer from a previous semester, you just don't get credit for that. That's that's how that works. What's next here? There'll be quizzes in, I believe, all the modules. They're kind of true, false, multiple choice, easy stuff, directly taken from the book content and perhaps the other resources. There's a help desk in the discussion board that is for me to answer your questions directly in there, but also for everyone else to see your questions because a lot of you are probably going to have some of the same questions. and also a place for potentially you to help each other. Either you answer a question that somebody knows the answer to, and they're welcome to help each other, as long as it's not just a copied and pasted answer. Um, but also you could help each other because perhaps you post a question at midnight and I go to bed early because I'm old and I didn't see it until tomorrow. Uh, you will also find some resources in Blackboard and that I've either built for you or gathered from other places. Um, and then primarily you're going to start with the modules. I'll introduce a new module, unlock it, and give you access to all the contents in there every week. There's a separate module for the big exams. Otherwise, every week is a new module. And you'll have 3 weeks to complete each module, except for the very end modules, because we won't have 3 weeks left in the semester when you get to the last two. And those ones will be slightly different because I understand you have less time in there. So I'll put more higher level stuff that doesn't take as much time for you to do it. And I'm going to show you a few options on what you can use to program with Python. Right? I'm going to start with the first one, which is the easiest option. If you've never used Python before, or even if you have used Python, the easiest way to program with Python is to use this program called Thani. And there should be a link to it in Blackboard somewhere. Otherwise, you can Google Thani Python and you'll find this program. I don't think it has a dark mode, unfortunately. Sorry. The greatest part about Thani is Python is built into it, so you only have to install one thing and it just works. You don't have to do multiple steps. You just run Thani, open up or create a new file, open up an old file, whatever, start writing Python. You press the run button, it will output any output down here in the bottom left. If there are any errors, you'll find those on the right hand panel. There's the right hand panel is the assistant, so we'll provide some help content as well. If you've done something that works but maybe isn't the best, sometimes the assistant will help you to identify those and correct them. So Thani is definitely the easiest one. Next option is VS Code. No, I have some updates here. You can skip that. VS Code is Thani is free. All these are free. Okay, VS Code is free directly from Microsoft, and it is a little bit trickier to get running than Thani. Not super hard though. You do have to install Python separately, and is a little trickier to run Python because there's not a visible run button right now. I have a Python file open that doesn't really have any code, but there's no run. Well, there's the run button way over here, right? There's the run and the debug button. So this one's a little bit trickier. You have a lot more options in this than you do in Thani. You can install some breakpoints and you can see some things, pause the program in the middle of it, see what things look like in the middle of the program. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Next one is PyCharm. There's a link in Blackboard for that. You can download PyCharm. This is an integrated development environment, or IDE, specifically for Python. Has a lot of the same features as VS Code, but this is specifically made for Python. Again, you'll have to install Python itself separately from VS Code. You can get that from python.org. So definitely Thani is going to be the easiest one. And for the most part, I'm going to be using Thani. That's what I'm going to use to open and grade your assignments as well. So it shouldn't really matter which one you're using. They will all open and run exactly the same in all these ones. And as a fourth option, new this semester that I've just recently learned about, is a website called Replit. And this one is a cloud-based IDE. It does most of all the same stuff as a VS Code and a PyCharm, a lot of extra stuff like breakpoints and stuff. But it runs completely online. You can connect it to Git because, again, it is online. This one's pretty cool. This one's new to me, so I'll be exploring this a little bit this semester. But for the most part, I will be using Thonny because it's kind of been the gold standard for a while, at least for me. So that's the one that you're gonna see from me most often. You can use whichever one you like. Thonny is the easiest. And that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.